There is a lesson that changes the way you move through life, but most people learn it later than they should. Not everyone around you occupies the same place. That sounds simple, almost obvious, yet many people spend years living as if every person close to them deserves the same access, the same trust, the same emotional space, and the same expectations. And that is often where confusion begins. We tend to believe that closeness means loyalty, that presence means care, that shared moments mean shared values, but life has a way of quietly correcting that belief. Not everyone who is near you is truly with you. Some people are part of your environment, but not part of your inner life. Some people enjoy your company, but cannot carry your truth. Some people are present in your story, but they were never meant to hold your most fragile parts. And when you fail to see that difference, you begin to give the wrong things to the wrong people. That is where disappointment is born. Most disappointment does not come from betrayal alone. Often it comes from expectation, from believing someone can offer something they were never built to offer, from expecting depth where there is only surface, from expecting understanding where there is only curiosity, from expecting loyalty where there is only convenience. And little by little, this creates wear. Not dramatic, immediate pain, something quieter, something slower. You begin to notice that certain conversations leave you feeling exposed instead of understood. You realize that after opening up, you feel emptier rather than lighter. You start replaying words in your head, wondering why what mattered deeply to you seemed to pass lightly through someone else. That kind of wear is not always caused by conflict. Sometimes it is caused by giving too much of yourself where there was never enough space to hold it. And that happens when roles become confused. Confusing roles is not kindness, it is a lack of judgment. Not everyone who smiles at you is a friend. Not everyone who checks in on you is emotionally close. Not everyone who shares time with you deserves access to what is most important. That does not make people bad, it makes them different. And understanding that difference is one of the quiet foundations of emotional maturity. Because maturity is not only about learning how to connect, it is also about learning how to distinguish. It is known that different relationships carry different capacities. Some people are wonderful for laughter. Some are good for shared moments. Some are good for practical help. Some are good for ideas. And a very small number are the people with whom you can place your truth without fear. Those are not the same categories. But many people blur them. They treat everyone as if everyone belongs at the same depth. They share too much too soon. They hand over private parts of themselves simply because someone is nearby, and later they feel misunderstood, exposed, or disappointed. Not because they were wrong to be open, but because openness without discernment becomes vulnerability in the wrong hands. Some conversations should not be had with just anyone, not because you are superior, not because you are distant, not because you are trying to be mysterious, because care matters. Your inner life deserves care. Your fears deserve care. Your dreams deserve care. Your wounds deserve care. Your unfinished thoughts deserve care. Not every person has the capacity to receive them with respect, and not every person has the intention. That is important. Capacity and intention are not the same. Some people mean well but do not know how to hold emotional depth. Others know exactly what matters to you but do not protect it. In both cases, unguarded openness can become costly. That is why discernment is not coldness, it is wisdom. There is a common misunderstanding in the modern world. People often think that being authentic means revealing everything, that honesty means full access, that openness means no boundaries. But authenticity does not require exposure. You can be genuine without being unguarded. You can be open without being available to everyone. You can be kind without giving everyone a front row seat to your inner world. In fact, character is often revealed in the ability to limit. That is not talked about enough. We often admire people for how much they give, but sometimes real strength appears in what they choose not to give. The mature person understands that not everyone enters the inner circle. Not everyone deserves deep trust. Not every relationship should be developed beyond what it naturally is. And accepting that brings a kind of peace that many people spend years searching for. Because when every relationship is expected to become deeper, life becomes noisy. You begin to overanalyze. You begin to explain too much. You begin to feel hurt by things that were never personal. You begin to demand emotional depth from people who were only passing through, and that creates unnecessary tension. A great deal of emotional conflict is born not from what others did, but from what we assumed they should have been. That is why limits matter. Many people avoid setting limits because they don't want to make others uncomfortable. They don't want to seem cold. They don't want to appear distant. They don't want to disappoint people. So they keep saying yes. They keep allowing access. They keep sharing beyond what feels right. They keep extending emotional space that they do not truly want to extend. And then something happens. The discomfort they tried to avoid in others slowly becomes discomfort inside themselves, and that discomfort lasts much longer. Because what you do not define early often becomes a conflict later. That is one of life's quiet truths. A boundary at the beginning feels awkward for a moment. A missing boundary creates confusion for months, sometimes even years. It is much harder to untangle expectations after they have taken root. That is why clarity is kindness. Clear roles protect relationships. Clear limits protect peace. Clear expectations protect emotional energy. Without them, people begin to assume. Assumptions create pressure that relationships were never built to carry. There is also another difficult truth. Not everyone is for everything. That can be hard to accept, especially when you care deeply, especially when you want a connection, especially when you want people to meet you where you stand. But life becomes lighter when you stop demanding from people what they do not have to give. Some people are meant to walk beside you for a season. Some are meant to remain at the edges. Some are meant to stay in the background. And some are meant to stand very close. Wisdom is not forcing everyone into the same place. Wisdom is recognizing where they naturally belong. And when you learn that, something changes. You stop feeling betrayed every time someone disappoints you. You stop over-investing in temporary closeness. You stop mistaking familiarity for trust. You stop expecting emotional depth from emotional distance. And slowly, your life becomes quieter. That quiet matters, because a noisy, emotional life can drain even strong people. Too many voices, too many expectations, too many disappointments that could have been avoided through clarity. But when each person occupies the place that truly fits, relationships become simpler, lighter, more honest, more peaceful. And something else happens. The people who truly belong become clearer. The rare people who can carry your truth. The rare people who respect what you share. The rare people who remain careful with what matters to you. Those people become visible when you stop giving equal access to everyone. And that changes everything. Because life is not only about finding good people, it's also about knowing where each person belongs. That is a different kind of intelligence, an emotional intelligence, a quiet wisdom, a form of self-respect. So if you have been disappointed, if you have felt drained, if you have wondered why certain relationships leave you feeling heavier instead of freer, maybe the answer is not that you cared too much. Maybe the answer is that you placed people at the wrong depth, and that can be changed. You can choose more carefully. You can observe more patiently. You can protect more wisely. You can stop confusing presence with loyalty. You can stop confusing attention with care. You can stop confusing access with trust. And once you do, life begins to feel different. Less noise, less pressure, less unnecessary pain, more truth, more clarity, more peace. Because not everyone around you occupies the same place. And when you finally learn to place each person where they truly belong, you do not only avoid problems, you begin to live with a calmer mind, a clearer heart, and a truer life. If you love this video, make sure to like this and subscribe to this channel for more content like this.